Well, welcome back, everybody, to the Raiders roster report. This is Raider Sparks. Thought I'd come on today and we'll talk about a little bit about the last playoff game, talk a little bit about how the roster's shaping up, and talk about some possible trades. One being that probably the reason why everybody clicked on here was Derek Carr for Jalen Hurts. So we'll kind of get into that. First time I said that, it made no sense at all to me. But when you start breaking down the roster a little bit more, and the fact that we might be going new GM, new coach, we'll get into that a little bit and see what you all think. But yeah, I just want to share my thoughts on the game with Cincinnati. First of all, hats off to the Raiders organization, everybody in the building for getting the team in the playoffs. I thought it was amazing, and it was incredible, especially when you really break down the roster. But the guys on it played as hard as they could. They took the Bengals to the edge of winning the playoff game there. And so hats off to those guys. I thought as far as the game went, I mean, the penalties killed us. That lost the game hands down. No question about it. I thought, I thought there were some panic moments, some probably learning moment. There's no reason to spike the ball with 30 seconds left when everybody's set. That was your best opportunity to score. You let the defense set. You had 30 seconds. There's still time on the clock after the fourth down play. So how would you like to have had another play? We could have, but we chose not to. We chose to spike it. I think that was just, Drew Brees, no, go. But then he kind of corrected himself, said, no, wait, maybe not, So, but anyways, that's just kind of a learning thing, being in the playoffs, the heat of the moment, that type of thing. But something to learn from. But other things that happened in that game, it pointed out our definitely pointed out our weaknesses for sure. We do not have a lockdown cornerback on this team. Point blank, period. Casey Hayward's a very good cornerback for his own defense, and definitely I want to bring him back. He's really good, but at some point you need one guy to say, I'm going to guard that guy no matter what. We just don't have that guy. And especially it shows up a lot too in the red zone stuff. It's like we give up so much in the red zone because we still play this sort of zone type defense. It's like you got to man up in that situation and play man. You got to be close. It just doesn't work. And so we definitely, in the draft or free agency, that's got to be a high priority as a quarterback. That's a lockdown quarterback. And there's a lot of good quarterbacks in the draft. I'll do a lot of draft stuff coming up. Definitely give a lot. In fact, the next videos I put out are going to be around the draft and the upcoming games for college. The Shrine Bowl, the Senior Bowl, the NFL PA Bowl, or whatever it is. But so I'll put some stuff out on that. So, hopefully everybody's subscribe, please, to the channel. But more importantly, comment and share the video if you like it. Please get that out. And I promise I will get to the Derek Carr, Jalen Hurts possible trade idea here pretty soon. But you kind of set it up when you get into the roster. But more, back to the game. The other glaring weakness was we don't have a boundary receiver that can win. Like, we don't have Jamar Chase. But we need a boundary receiver because what that will do is it'll open up the middle of the field for Renfro and Waller, who are, in their own rights, fantastic slot receiver and event, and a really good tight end, so that can stretch the field down the middle. We need a boundary receiver that can win. Zay Jones proved to be a good receiver, but he's not necessarily putting fear in the defense. And Brian Edwards is still progressing. He's progressed. He's coming along, but those got to be our third, fourth, fifth receivers. We need two more receivers to fill out the team, and one needs to be a number one that can line up on the boundary, line up on the line of scrimmage, a true X receiver. There's several in the draft that we can get, and there's some in free agency that we might be able to get. They're costly in free agency, but it's possible. But it was definitely a glaring weakness for us. So the lockdown corner, the boundary receiver, the X receiver, number one receiver, whatever you want to call him, is definitely a glaring weakness. And then some other things that were glaring, obviously, our line is young. I mean, those penalties are just going to be, the growing pains of a young line. The one thing is Brandon Parker's doesn't have a contract with us anymore, so we're definitely a right tackle. So something to think about free agency in the draft. Also, linebacker play, thin there, so we definitely need to address the linebacker. I mean, there's a one play with KJ Wright. He was like, right before the play, you saw him trying to get everybody in line, do all this, that, and that, where they ran a sweep type play with Chase to the outside, and Casey did a nice job, came up, He got blocked, but he kept it to the inside. Well, there should have been a linebacker right there, but KJ just does not have the speed to get out there and boom, room for a big gain. And of course, our linebacker, as soon as Littleton came in the game, the very first play, they ran right at him. And blocker came, he doesn't anticipate the hole, doesn't do what Perryman doesn't jump it. He gets blocked 8 yards, and it just kept going and going and going at Littleton. It was just until finally got to a point where I think Bradley said, "Screw it, he's not going to stop anybody. This is blitzing." I mean, that started to kind of work, but yeah, I think that was some definite glaring weaknesses in our team and things that need to be addressed for sure. So Mark Davis has a huge decisions to make, and so first and foremost, I think there has to be the plan. And I've talked about it in other videos. There has to be a plan to get this team in the Super Bowl in 2 years. I mean, what a big middle finger to the NFL if the Raiders get the Super Bowl 2 years and the Raiders are playing it. And look at they got screwed on the call in Cincinnati. Let's face it. But as Raider fans forever, we're totally used to that. We have to overcome it. We have to get into that Super Bowl in Vegas. So whatever we have to do, we have to do. But Mark Davis needs to make some really smart decisions here as far as the GM. And please keep Mike Mayock. In case you didn't hear it, I did a video, or not a video, a podcast, whatever, on Mike Mayock on why he should stay. So if you haven't checked it out, please check it out. But we need that consistency, the continuity, that type of thing. And for the most part, the roster was good enough to get in the playoffs. Let's build on it, don't break it down. But Mark Davis has got to do the right thing. As far as the coaching search, I mean, do your due diligence, get the right coach. I mean, the players are begging for Bisaccia, and I'm not against Bisaccia being the coach because I don't want to see a bunch of turnover. I mean, the one coach for me that I would change out would be Olsen, the offensive coordinator. I'm not always a fan of his play calling, but hey, you know what? If we can just keep it consistent, that's kind of what I'm looking for. I think that's what this franchise needs more than anything is consistency. Look at all the turnover, the change, the turmoil that the teams went through. So please, Mark Davis, keep Mike Mayock, and please, Mark Davis, don't make the decision on your own about Carr because that's the biggest decision that's going to drive what happens to this franchise moving forward. Let Mayock take care of it and keep that goal on the Super Bowl in 2 years. So, I mean, so let's get into Derek Carr. I think my thought is I'd like to keep things the same, just add to what we have, keep him. But if you do switch out the GM and you do switch out the coach, this is a perfect opportunity the way this roster is structured. I mean, they have $40 million in cap space, which ranks 11th in the NFL. So that's good. And I'll get into why that's not good here in a little bit. But just on the surface, having $40 million 11th rank, that's good. You have all these expiring contracts. You have a top 10 quarterback that is only going to make $20 million next year. However, he's also very tradable and should have a high trade demand. So if you are a coach and GM that want to say, hey, you know what? I want my new stuff. I want my new offense. I want a mobile quarterback and switch it up. This is the time to do it. So this brings us to this man here, Jalen Hurts. So is it so far-fetched to say that if a new coach and GM come in and they want to totally change the offense over to a mobile quarterback and improve the roster at the same time and not give up on the season? Jalen Hurts took his team to the playoffs. So this is not a complete rebuild. This is just saying, hey, I'm changing my offensive structure. But let's take a look at it. So Derek Carr's 30 years old. He's 8 seasons. He's got 1 playoff loss on his resume. Jalen Hurts is 23. He's got 2 seasons. He has 1 playoff loss on his resume. So 2021, Carr played 17 games, and excuse me, and Jalen played 15. So there's some injury concerns here. And hats off to Jalen. I mean, he played with a high ankle sprain in a playoff game, so no excuses in the NFL. But he did man up and play in a high ankle sprain. I don't know how. So Carr's record was 10-7, and Jalen's was 8-7. Completions: Carr 428 versus Jalen's 265. Would you expect that because he's a mobile quarterback versus a pocket passer? Attempts. 626 versus 432. Again, you expect that. Completion percentage, Carr 68% and Jalen 61. So if you did bring Jalen, you're going to have to expect lesser completion percentage. I think that's just realistic to think. Yards, 48.04 for Carr, 31.44 for Jalen. 282 average for Carr, 212 for Jalen. Carr threw for 23 touchdowns, Jalen 16. Carr had 14 INTs, Hurts 9. Passer rating, Carr 94 and Jalen 87. So that's all the passers. So obviously, the passing game, Derek Carr is a better passing quarterback, and we know that. Excuse me. In the rushing game, first of all, Carr had 40 sacks versus Jalen's 26. 2 less games, okay, and then, whatever. Attempts for rushing, Carr 40 and Jalen Hurts had 139. Yards, Carr 108, 6-yard average per game. Jalen Hurts had 784 yards rushing, 52 average. Carr, no touchdowns. Hurts, 10 touchdowns. First downs, let's see here. Carr, 9. Jalen Hurts, 56 touchdowns he rushed for. Long, Carr, 22. Jalen, 56. Fumbles, Carr, 13. Jalen, 9. So if you look at the totals, total yards, Carr, 4,912. Jalen, 3,978 in 2 less games. Average, 289 versus 265. Touchdowns, Carr, 23. Jalen Hurts, 25. Let's see here. Turnovers, Carr, 27. Jalen Hurts, 18. Let's see here. So that's some comparison. So if you were to move on to a mobile quarterback, I mean, possible. Not out of the question. Let's say that. Let's say it this way. I didn't take out the defensive points, but Philly's points per game this year is 26.1, and Las Vegas is 21.8. Name of the game, score points. Philly scored, on average, more points than Las Vegas Raiders with Jalen Hurts as their quarterback. So, again, not crazy. So, and let's look at it from a financial standpoint. Carr is looking to be paid as a top 10 player in the league, making $31 to $35 million. Hurts is on a rookie contract, make $1.6 million against the cap in 2022 and $1.9 in 2023 with a 5th-year option. So financially, much less expensive. Now Carr, who knows? He could this next year he could definitely the cap space for this year could be finagled, signing bonuses and things like that. But moving forward, it's going to be $31 to $35 million, and most of that's going to be guaranteed and probably a 4 or 5 year deal. So why would it make sense to make a deal? Well, I don't know if it makes sense, but what I think you might be able to get from the Eagles for Carr, Hurts, and also probably Vegas would probably get 2 first-round picks. Now, maybe not. I have no idea if that's true. But people have said that Carr is going to get a haul of picks. And to me, that would be it. I mean, the Eagles have 3 first-round picks. They give up 2 first-round picks and Jalen Hurts for Derek Carr. They still have a first-round pick. They get a top 10 quarterback. They're already in the playoffs, so they have a roster that can compete right now. Maybe they think, you know what, let's go to a true pocket passer. This is going to put us over the hump. I mean, look at what Carr's done for some receivers like Zay Jones and Nelson Aguilar, and they got Reader over there in Philly and some other weapons over there too. Who knows what Carr could do for that offense? So I don't think it's too far-fetched for Philly to do that. Now, what about Vegas? What are they going to get? Well, if they do have a new coach, a new GM, and they want to go to a running-style offense or for running-type quarterback, Jalen Hurts would be a perfect option because you know what you could do? You could take those. You're going to get 3. You'll have 3 first-round picks, 2 Eagles picks, and your own. So what could you do? Well, you could draft Malik Willis, who a lot of people on their board say that their number 1 quarterback or number 2 quarterback just needs time to develop. You could draft him with one of those picks and have your future quarterback. And if Jalen works out, great. If he doesn't, you got him coming along. He's supposed to be the big hot talent. with the running and the big arm, you'd be running the same offense, so you'd have both of them. I mean, it would totally work out if you're a Malik Willis fan and you think that he could be a future franchise guy. Sits for a year, maybe he's a Mahomes. Who knows? Lamar Jackson, we don't know. He's got a huge arm and he runs really well. He's from a small school. And, well, I guess we'll find out because he'll be in the Senior Bowl. And so stay tuned for all my episodes about the Senior Bowl and the upcoming players and the Shrine Bowl and the NFLPA Bowl. Check me out. So, again, if you're liking this, subscribe. Please like the video, comment. Want to know what you have to say about the Jalen Hurts for Carr scenario, kind of what I put forward so far. Definitely want to hear from you guys. But, hey, the Raiders could definitely address, get their future quarterback. They can get their lockdown corner. They can get their number one receiver if they had 3 first-round picks. So think about that, what it would do for the roster. And, it would also benefit the Eagles. They're in win-now mode, too. Look at the division they're in. They're playing Daniel Jones. Washington have a quarterback, so they're only competing really with the Cowboys. And Dak Prescott, to me, is up and down. I mean, the Cowboys are hit or miss, warm or cold, whatever. So they have a great chance. We're competing with Mahomes, Herbert, and I'm sure all the talk is that Denver's going to get a big-time free agent probably. So who knows what's going to happen there. So, I mean, it could work for both franchises. And look at what the Raiders could do with that extra cap space to build their roster. But speaking of their roster for the Raiders, so that's it on the Jalen Hurts stuff. Just an idea I had. If the Raiders, I don't want to do it. I want to keep what we have. But if Mark Davis decides, hey, I'm moving on from GM Mike Mayock and I'm getting a new coach, and let's say Harbaugh likes a mobile quarterback. He did it with Kaepernick. Let's say that's the avenue he wants to go, and he wants to build up the defense a little bit more. Well, guess what? You're going to give him 2 extra first-round picks and a mobile quarterback that has 2 years experience in the league and a playoff experience. It's not as crazy as it sounds. At first, when I said it, it was crazy, but anyway, so the real problem with the Raiders roster, let's get into it, because there was $40 million in cap space, and they have a young roster. Their average age is 26, which puts them like 15th in the league. So, I mean, all of that is like perfect. All that's good. $40 million in cap space was 15th, was middle of the league. One thing that also too, they have Ruggs and Arnett, so the dead money is really good. It's only like a little over $9 million, but the Ruggs Arnett is $7.4 million of it, and they may actually get that back, so they may get relief on that, which is great. So if I'm a new GM and a new coach, this is looking pretty good. I've got a lot of flexibility with these contracts. I've got money I can spend seemingly. However, that represents only 34 players. To make up the cap space is 51, so we're 17 players short. So that $40 million has got to pay for the extra 17 players plus a draft class, which our drafts I think we have 7 or maybe 8 depending on where you look. But definitely 7 draft picks. But anyway, so Derek Carr, I mean, he's got no dead money. He's got $20 million to the cap, but no dead money. So you can do a lot with him right now. It's looking like he's probably going to get the extension, the restructure, and Sport Track has him, or Over the Cap has him at like $31.2 million. I think he's probably going to get a little closer to 35 than that, but right in that range. And 4 years, something. Probably maybe 5th-year option for the team, that type of thing. But yeah, he's going to be a top 10 paid quarterback, and he'll rank in the top 10 in contracts. And they really use Stafford at age 29 when he signed his contract. He was 29 when he signed his. He got $27 million. Cousins, he was age 31 when he signed his contract. He got 33. Russell Wilson was 30. He got 35, and Tannehill was age 31 and he got $29.5 million. So that's kind of where they're at. So I think that 31 is realistic, and the cap going up a little bit probably gets a little bit more than that. So this is kind of where he's at. So Jalen Hurts is making like 1.6, 1.9 million, and obviously you can invest that money in other places if you wanted to. But anyway, so enough of the Jalen Hurts talk. So the next player is Colton Miller. $17 million, and I looked at it says no dead money on some of the sites, some it does, but regardless, I don't think you're moving on from Colton Miller. He's a building block for you. Corey Littleton, very disappointing. In fact, in the Cincinnati, they ran right at him. It was a joke. $16 million, 14 million dead. So for him, you're going to want to take, if you release him or anything else, you save 1.7 million pre 6-1, and then after 6-1, it's basically the same. You could save 11.7 million in 2022, but you're just basically moving the money to 2023. And to me, if your goal is to win the Super Bowl in 2023 to play in the 2024 Super Bowl, you would just take the hit this year. Me personally, I would do everything I could to try to trade him back to the Rams. I think it would only cost him like 4 or 5 million in a 1-year deal for the Rams, and we'd pick up the rest basically. But I'd trade him for Bobby Brown, the backup defensive tackle, in a heartbeat. But he was an All-Pro in their system. Maybe they want to do that again. I would definitely make that call and get a backup DB that's buried on the depth chart that has some upside that could help us out. So, anyways, let's take on that. Yannick, 15 million, 16 dead. He's not going anywhere. But if your plan is, future for him, you want to consider it locking him in for another year, so you have him for that Super Bowl run. Klee, 10 million hit, all dead money. So there's nothing you can do. If you were to trade him, you'd save 4.7 million, but nobody's trading for Cleveland Farrell. NASA, 9.5 million cap hit, 6.6 dead. If you trade him, you save 6.6, but that ain't not happening. If you cut him, it's just dead money. It's release or trade, 6.6 dead money, so it's nothing you can do there. You could spread it out like you can Littleton, but why? If you're trying to free up money for 2023, I wouldn't do that. Nick Kowalski, cap hit, 8 million. 5 million's dead. You can save 3 million. Again, you can do the same thing as the other two guys. And then Kenyon Drake, 8 million cap, 5.5 dead money. If you traded him, you'd save all 8 million, but nobody's trading for Kenyon Drake at that price. So the real problem with this roster, among many, is that the top 8 paid players, 5 of them are not doing anything to help this team at all. I mean, Corey Littleton is the 3rd highest paid player on the team, and we're better when he's not on the field. Cleveland, unfortunately, he's a backup edge. I mean, that's it. He was not his fault where he was picked. He was picked in the wrong place, but that's not helping us. Nassib, I have no idea why we signed him, but that's not helping us. Kowalski, again, he's always hurt. When he was on the field, it wasn't all that great. And then Kenny Drake, he was hurt this year, so we'll give him a benefit of the doubt. But when he was on the field, he wasn't all that great either. So that's really what the problem is for the salary cap of the roster. So, and then if you look at, Darren Waller, he wants a new contract. He's not UFA until 2024, and he's locked in at $7 million with no debt. So there's a lot of room there. Daniel Carson, okay, cool. We're keeping him. Max Crosby, we got to look at an extension for him. Josh Jacobs, we got to look at his 5th-year option here pretty soon, which is going to be about $10 million. So what I'm hoping for Josh is that I want to keep him. I think he's a great Raider. He's played in 43 of the 49 games over his career. He has been dinged up a lot, but that's a running back. That's what happens. So hopefully instead of doing the 5th-year option, we can work out a longer-term deal, give him some more guaranteed money at a lower yearly salary, and hopefully that can get worked out. Denzel Good, 3.7, no dead. Thank God we have Denzel Good. I mean, I wish we had him this year because he could have played that tackle spot for us and really helped out Leatherwood a lot. But Denzel, I think he would start probably on half the league's line. So he's a good player, and he could be a good backup or jump in if the Leatherwood or Simpson struggle again, or even play the right tackle if we don't address it in free agency or the draft. I mean, Brandon Parker doesn't have a contract anymore, so he could be the guy, and that's fine. Jonathan Abrams, obviously we have to make a decision on him. We're not going to pick up his 5th-year option, $7.9 million. And obviously health, 28 out of 49 games is what he's played for us. So 3.6, there's $3 million dead money basically. So 3.6 cap hit, $3 million dead money. Nobody's trading for him with all the injuries. So we're just, it's sad because we're a really good team, one of the running teams when he plays, but we are not good when he passing teams. And unfortunately, most of this league is a passing league, so it's just a liability out there. He's too small to play the position he's in. If you haven't heard my stuff, go back and listen to it. I've done a couple things there. He has the exact same physical makeup of Earl Thomas as a free safety. So we're asking him to play a box position he just physically cannot do. And that's unfortunate. So, but against the run, he's good. It's just he gets hurt. And that's what's going to happen against the pass. It's a liability. So we need to definitely address that for sure. Now the 15th highest paid is James. He's not going to. 16th Leatherwood. 17th is Perryman. $3 million, no guarantee. I would look at extending him further, maybe guarantee next year, and then give him a club option for the year after for our Super Bowl run. I would definitely look at that because he's definitely our best linebacker. So your Mullen, 2.3 cap hit, 824,000 dead. So if we had to cut him or move on, we can. It's just unfortunate, we got him as a press man corner, then we switched defenses, so he's kind of a fish out of water, especially with the injuries. He's played in 37 out of 49 games, but I guarantee you the 37 games he's played, at least a quarter of those he's came out of the game hurt. So I mean, it's just he's physically. We ask our cornerbacks to tackle so much because we play the 4-3 with ends that can't guard out there because they crash in. And then we don't have the third or fourth linebacker to get out the edge, so we ask our quarterbacks to do it. And Casey does a good job, and actually Faison does a really good job of it. But Mullen, we're asking him to do these tackles, and he's just not physically able to. It shows he's injured all the time. And then we have 19th Cole, and then 20 is Trayvon, who's not going anywhere. So that's sort of the top 20. And so really, if you look at the roster, I mean. Good thing is that this is the last year of, we can get. So if you have a new coach and a new GM, you're not going to be penalized the first year. So you ride these guys out, you cut them, and you free up a ton of cap space for 2023. As long as you don't blow free agency this year, everything should be looking smooth. But there's guys we should be extending as well. Hunter Renfrow and Zay Jones, I think we should give him another shot here. Those types of things. But if you look at the roster itself, I mean, currently for 2022, going into 2022, we have 2 receivers on our roster. Edwards with 2 years left, Renfrow with 1. Renfrow, we got to get his extension done. I would think sooner than later. Let's keep him here for our Super Bowl push. We have 2 tight ends, Waller and Morrow. Morrow's coming up on the last year of his contract. Safeties, we only have 3 safeties, Mourning, Gillespie, and Abram, who's on the last year of his deal. Offensive line, we only have 6. Leatherwood, Miller, Good, Simpson, Seymour, and James. And Seymour, I mean, I don't know if he's going to be on the team or not. But, I mean, Denzel Good's 1 year left on his contract. Let's see here. Running backs, we have 3, but Smith, he's on 1 year, no guarantee. I don't know if he's back. Drake's 1 year. Jacobs has 1 year left. Quarterback, Carr, we have 1 quarterback. 1 year left on his deal. Linebacker, Klosky, Diablo, Littleton, Perryman. 3 of our 4 linebacker that we have signed for next year. Only 1 of them has a contract longer than 1 year after. Defensive ends, we have 5. Yannick, Farrell, Nassib, Crosby, and Kuntz. Crosby has 1 year. Nassib 1 year. Farrell 1 year. Yannick 1 year. So, I mean, if I'm a GM, I'm like, wow, this is great. I can come in and get all my new personnel. But, that's a lot of turnover we're talking about. We need to lock these guys up, so I want to make a Super Bowl run. 2 years. Vickers, we have 1 defensive tackle, and he doesn't even play. He was activated and then inactivated. So was Malcolm, too. Malcolm was inactive during the game, which that kind of frustrated me a little bit. We needed to get after the quarterback, and he's been doing a good job, and for some reason he was inactive. And then quarterbacks, we only have 3. Mullen, who's always hurt, and 1 year left on his deal. Robertson, who doesn't play, he's always inactive, and then Nate Hobbs. So, I mean, there's a ton of work to do to this roster with $40 million. So that $40 million cap space looks great. But look at all the players we need to get back. I mean, I kind of wrote down players that I'd like to get back. Darius Philon. Even if we just signed our players to what they made last year, say we got Darius back for $1 million. Hank is $3.5 million. Mariota $3.5. We need a backup quarterback. We're going to pay somebody $3.5. PFF has Mariota make it $8 million. So let's just say he makes $3.5 million again. Quentin, 3.2. Solomon Thomas, 2.8. Casey Hayward. PFS is number 25 top for free agent out there. 6.5 million. And Zay Jones, 2.5. That would get us up to 41 players But it would only leave us with $18 million in cap space after we sign those, and we still have 10 more players we need to sign. With 7 draft picks, that's going to be $8 to $10 million. So I guess we need to tamper expectations in free agency because we really only have like 10 to 15 million in free money to spend on free agents. Given the fact that we need to fill all these roster spots, I'd like to do it with the guys I just named and then fill out the rest of the roster. But man, so it's not as perfect as it seems. I mean, if we were to cut Littleton, Kowalski, and Nassib, we would take a $25.6 million dead hit. But I mean, that's money already spent. We would save $7.7 million. So, but again, those are 3 positions that we'd have to still sign people for to fill. So now we go back to Jalen Hurts. Would it be worth it to get an extra 2 first-round draft picks and to save nearly $19 or $18 million on the cap? I don't know. It's possible. I mean, look at the state of the roster. Is it good enough with Carr to add the pieces around it to win the Super Bowl in 2 years? I don't know. I'd like to hear what everybody else thinks about that. I mean, if you start breaking it down, I don't know if the roster is talented enough. And then if you pay Carr $31 million the following year, it's going to limit our buying capacity even more. So, first of all, we can't miss on the draft. We've got to be really smart in free agency. I know everybody wants a number 1 receiver, but there's really only 2 that I've noticed that are top notch that play on the line, on the boundary: Devontae Adams and Allen Robinson. The rest of the guys are good. Goodwin's a number 1 receiver, but the rest are kind of slot guys or off the line of scrimmage type guys or speed guys, which is fine. We'll take one of those, but we need to win at the line of scrimmage. We need to win on the boundary. And so there are several of those in the draft, and I'll do a lot more draft videos and break it down. But that's kind of a glaring need. Cornerback's a glaring need. I mean, I just went through the list of what we have, and we have 1 defensive tackle that's really not even a defensive tackle that doesn't even play, Vickers. Everybody else is not even on the sign. So there's a ton of work to do. I really hope Mark Davis keeps Mayock in place to kind of figure all of this out and to get us through the draft and get the right draft picks, the right free agents, and keep the team the same so we don't have to completely rebuild. I mean, if we totally redid especially on the defensive side of the ball, if we just redid the defensive side of the ball, man, what changes we'd have to make in personnel, and then also all the players that came in and helped us this year because of Gus Bradley, Faison and Teamer, and all these guys, the guys that are Perryman signed. But I mean, a ton of guys came in because of Gus Bradley. Casey Hayward, I mean, if Gus stays, I'm pretty sure he stays. So, I mean, we got to think about that kind of stuff. And then, if a GM wants to come in and switch to a running quarterback, that option, I think, is definitely there. We could definitely get some more draft capital, get some cap relief, pick a future quarterback and not do a true rebuild. Wouldn't be anything like that. It would just be bolstering the roster and just changing the philosophy of the offense. Anyways, I hope you guys liked the video. Sorry it went a little long, but there's a lot to go over. This roster, there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of great pieces. There's a lot of guys that I hope we get contract extensions to because they earned it this year. There's several guys that I mentioned that I'd like to bring back on the team. And hopefully we get the picture here pretty soon about what's going to happen with our GM, our quarterback, and our coach. Because those 3 things, once those happen, we'll start getting a better picture of how to shape the roster. But for now, stay tuned for more content. I'm going to have a lot of draft stuff coming up. Like I mentioned, I'm going to do the Senior Bowl, the East West Shrine Bowl, and the NFLPA Bowl, and kind of break down some players that I think would be possible fits for the Raiders, players to keep an eye on. But again, please like, subscribe, do all those good things, make lots of comments. Want to hear what you have to think. Everybody out there with Raider Nation has to think, and share the video. And then for now, Raider Sparks, and you guys have a good night.